Okay, so my tire patch repair job was a fail. It did not patch the tire, and it's over there. I could not get the bead broke back loose, and I was like, surely there's a video on YouTube that shows me how to make a bead breaker, homemade bead breaker. So there is, and I'll put a link in the description. I can't remember the guy's channel. I'll remember it. Maybe I'll write it in the frame. Anyway, so I'm gonna make me one, and I'm gonna make it pretty much just like the one he did. So he's more of a fabricator than I am. So if you want to see how he does his, then watch his video. But it's a manual. I watched two videos. One was a guy made one where you use a floor jack, and it cranks up on the backside. It has a pivot point on it, and it pushes up on the backside and pushes down on the bead and breaks it. But it looked kind of cumbersome, and I was like, I'm not breaking any enormous tires. So he actually had a link to this guy's manual one, and I watched his video, and I was like, cool. So I actually got some square tubing and that I had. I remember I used to watch videos and be like, who has all this scrap metal laying around to make all this shit with? But turns out I got a fairly good supply of scrap metal. I used to work construction. I used to bring scrap metal home all the time. But anyway, I've got this square tube here and this piece here. And so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. I'll show you the measurements after I cut it. I'm using the same measurements he made. He was breaking motorcycle tires and big ATV tires, similar to the one I got. And it's adjustable, and looked like it was doing a pretty good job, and it's pretty compact, and I put it away, and when I'm not using it, and be out of the way pretty easy. So that's what I'm getting ready to do. So I'll get these cut, get everything cut and laid out. And I'm not much of a welder. I got an old stick welder, a Hobart stick welder I got from Tractor Supply. My dad used to do all my welding. He don't really weld much anymore, so I'm gonna try my hand at a little stick welding. I used to be fairly decent with a wire welder. I used to use one at my last job, but this job I strictly do electrical work here, and I don't really do much welding. I mean, I could, they don't care, but I just don't have an opportunity to do much welding. So I'm gonna try my hand at some stick welding, which I have done. I made this frame up here where I'm at for that exhaust fan. I welded it together. It's the same kind of steel tube that's used to make the shop here. But anyway, I'm rambling. So let me cut this up, and we'll see what we can do about welding it together. I'll show you how we made everything, and we'll go from there. All right, so I got the pieces cut, and here's like a kind of a basic drawing of what I got going on. In the other guy's video, these side pieces, which are these, were 9 inches long, but the piece I had was 2 foot, so I actually cut these 12 inches long. And what you're gonna have is, so this piece, I need an 8-inch piece. That's what I got here. This piece that goes on the end is about 3.5 inches long. And this piece is a piece of C-channel I had. I just had it from when I built my pole barn. And this piece already had a foot on it, so I haven't decided if I'm gonna bolt this down, which would probably be easier, and just leave it. And so what happens is this piece here gets sandwiched in between these two, like so. Like that, and it sticks out the end. And then you put a lever bar, which is what I got this for, in there, and that's what you press down on. So in this piece and in these side pieces, these flat bar pieces, I'm gonna drill a series of holes to make it adjustable there and adjustable out, so you can move this piece in or out and move these arms up or down, depending on the width and the thickness of your tire. So I got to drill a series of holes in here and holes in here. Probably going to use 3/8 bolts to hold everything together. And that's it. I'll get these cleaned up where I cut them, and I just cut them in the vise with the saw there. And I say my dad used to weld. He actually made this stand that we use for this vise, and normal, so you can push it in the corner. I've got a welding table over there with a vise on it, and I got this vise here, which is not mounted. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with it yet, but this one I keep shoved back in the corner here, and pull it out. He welded these feet on. He made this whole frame and everything. So he was my welder, but he don't really weld that much anymore, so it's up to me. So anyway, let me get everything cleaned up. Got the drill press here. I'll get holes drilled and everything, and we'll see about putting her together and try to weld her up and see how she works. All right, I got my flat bar here set up. Got the center line marked. I'm gonna make 6 1-inch holes. I got one in the end. That's gonna be to mount it to the vertical piece there. And then I got 6. These are gonna be my adjustment holes. 6, and I'm gonna go ahead and drill a pilot hole before I gotta change the speed. I'm gonna drill press, slow it down for that 3/8 bit. I already had it up because I had a wire brush in here and was cleaning up some valve covers on the F100 I had recently. So while I got the speed up high, I'll just use this high speed on this small drill bit anyway. So also this, I don't know where I got this vise from. I think my dad got it at Tractor Supply, but this thing sucks. Whenever you tighten it down, this back piece has got so much play in it, it kicks up. So I had to put this metal flat bar in there to hold them both even. Anyway, let me get these holes drilled and change over and get the 3/8 holes drilled, and then we'll drill holes in that one to be able to adjust it up and down. All right, we got a total of 7 pilot holes drilled in this one. After I drilled my first one, I put a screw in there to try to help keep it lined up because I had to loosen the chuck jaws, slide it in and out to keep from pushing down too far and doing that. So while I got the smaller bit in here, I'll go ahead and put that in the vise and drill a series of holes in it to allow for the vertical adjustment of our pivot point. All right, well, I got slowed the drill down. I got the 5/16 bit in here. I'm gonna tap these holes in the base plate for 3/8. So I'll get these knocked out, and then I'll put the 3/8 bit in there and finish drilling out these holes. And 2 of my holes got off. I'm not sure exactly how that happened, but it happens. And then we'll get it together, do some welding. My only concern is this metal's kind of thin. We'll see. It should be all right. We'll see. We'll see how she holds up. Anyway, we'll just carry on. I got these 4 holes drilled and tapped for 3/8, and then I'll put the 3/8 drill bit in there and drill out the rest of them because I'm just going to put a bolt straight through there and a nut. All right, we're down to the last 2 holes. Let's get it done. Definitely got to get a new clamp. This clamp is terrible. I don't know where my dad got it, but it's terrible. go. Got the last holes drilled in that. I've noticed it's not exactly centered up. And this clamp, you can see, just don't hold worth a crap. So I'm definitely gonna have to buy me a new clamp. So I got the holes drilled in this. I still gotta drill the ones in the upright piece, and that'll be all the holes I gotta drill. So, all right, so I got the thing together. This is that other piece of square tubing goes in here, and that's your press down and break it. I need to grind that down a little bit so I can weld right there. Weld on the bottom. Might have to slide that back to get a little bit more bite on that. That's one of my main concerns is that this is gonna fail. But one thing the guy I'm copying mentioned is he just bolted this here and welded this together, and it made it too tight of a fit. So I put some washers in between the arms, make it a little wider, and I got this clamp together. It looks like that's gonna fit pretty good. It's a little tight down here. May have to open that up a little bit. Back here it's fine. Right here it's just a little tight. And of course I drilled my holes too far, so I won't be able to use that far end hole, but I might be able to use the next one back. But and then I got to figure out some sort of shoe to put on here. My original plan was to potentially use an old chisel plow, which I was like, it's been sitting here for like weeks. Now I need it and it's gone. Right here, because it's already bent. It kind of matches the contour of a rim a little bit. Or maybe figure out some way that's like maybe weld it to that piece of square tubing that'll fit up in here and make it like an interchangeable shoe, to where I could get different shapes for different. If I had a bigger rim, you know, like a tractor rim or something, this might not work. So I may do something like that. So I may get some washers or something and put in here to widen this up a little bit and then weld it up. And we'll see. I'm going to practice my welding before I go blow big holes in this, like I have a tendency to do. I got some scrap pieces over there, so I might bring them over here, crank up the old Hobart, and do some practice welds and see how it turns out. All right, we got a fire starting in the old shop. It is the next day. It's a cold, dreary, rainy day in North Carolina. So last night I left here after I welded this up, and I was struggling. It was a good thing I didn't film it, because I would have had to bleep many an F-bomb. And it looks like crap. My dad finally heard me cussing out here loud enough, and he finally come out here and finished up some welds for me after he heard me cussing and pitching a big fit. So I'm gonna grind that down, and then I gotta cut my holes in this and out here. I did blow a hole in the side of it, but I think it'll be all right. Right there. I have to grind down that metal drip to get my pole in there, but it is what it is. I'm not a welder, like I say, but a wire welder is on my list of stuff to buy. The stick welder is great for welding like thick steel and stuff, but for something where there's got this thin metal in here, I really want to get me a wire welder, but it's on the list. So anyway, we're going to grind that down, and hopefully here in a few minutes we'll see if this thing will work. All right, we got the finished product here. I ended up taking, like I say, this old plow tooth and welded it to a piece of this square tubing that would fit up inside here, and put a hole in it and a bolt through it. That way, if I needed to, I can make different shoes. I still got some of this square tubing left, and make me up a couple different shoes to fit different size tires. I tried to knock off that weld drip in there with a cold chisel, and it did come off, but I got to do some more work to get this would have fit down in there a little bit further. But this is literally the first try. Let me see if I can get something to set this up on and get you a better view. Okay, here we go. Come on. Oh yeah, look at there. That's what I'm talking about. Beautiful. I definitely should have moved for the next side. Probably move this piece back one hole so I can move this tire closer to this upright pedestal and get a little bit more leverage on it where it's not trying to lift up the back of the foot there. But man, that worked like a champ. Well, there you go. Build yourself one. That's all I gotta say. That's gonna save me a lot of time in the future because I got several tires that I need to work on some tractors. But anyway, I'm gonna get this. I got the tube. I'm gonna put the tube in it, get it back on the old four-wheeler, and we're gonna call this a success. Like I say, I gotta get this where this will slide in there a little bit further. I may shorten up this handle. I made it 4 feet. The piece I cut off is like 42 inches. Easy. Might be a little bit better. It's over there in the vise. But anyway, I'm pleasantly surprised how this turned out. All right, guys. Like I say, I'm trying to build this channel. It's gonna be my new farming channel. If you like this video, like the channel, subscribe to the channel, and see you guys later. All right, we got the tube in, we got the four-wheeler down on the ground. I did end up moving the vertical arm back a couple spots actually to get it to be more vertical up and down on the tire. And when I flipped it over, the other side was a little bit harder to do. I don't know if that's because the opposite side had already been broken loose, but it broke loose, it came loose. It was just a little bit more difficult. I got the tube in. Of course, I inflated the tube all the way to set the bead, and then took the valve out, let it deflate, and then filled it back up again. I got about 8 pounds in there. Supposed to have about 7. I got about 8 in there. And the rest of the tires also have very slow leaks, but I don't have to put air in it every day like I did this one, and so we're gonna leave those for now. After this struggle I had, we're gonna call it a win. Even though I didn't get the tire repaired like I wanted to originally, it has a silver lining because I ended up making this bead breaker that I think is gonna be pretty sweet. So anyway, we're gonna call it a day. We're gonna turn the lights out, head to the house. Appreciate you guys watching. Thanks.